Bonjour, your holiday or your vacation is over now. How do you talk about it in French? This is what I'm going to help you with today. If you are interested, then let's do it. Vous êtes prêts? C'est parti! First, let's look at some places. You want to talk about where you went. You may want to say that you went au bord de la mer, at the seaside. Au bord de la mer. So the expression is le bord de la mer, but if you put it in the sentence, you will have to use au bord de la mer. But maybe you went to the mountains, à la montagne, à la montagne. Maybe you went to the countryside, à la campagne, à la campagne. Now, let's look at some actions in the past using verbs ending with ER. And that will be just general. So you could say, for example, j'ai nagé, I swam, j'ai nagé. J'ai visité la Tour Eiffel. I visited the Eiffel Tower. For those who were not so lucky, j'ai travaillé, I worked. Or j'ai étudié, I studied. So the question for you is, qu'est-ce que tu as fait pendant les vacances? Or, qu'est-ce que vous avez fait pendant les vacances? To answer the question, we could look at where, how long for, and who with. So for the where, you need to obviously mention a location. So in this example, I put Paris, and en France. Please remember that if you're talking about a town or a city, you need to put an A. But if you're talking about a country, remember your feminine countries will be with en and masculine countries with o. Now, the verb we are looking at is aller. So you need to remember that I went is je suis allé, and aller would have an extra E if the person who is talking or who is writing, rather, is female. Okay, so don't forget your E if you're writing. In terms of pronunciation, there's no difference. Now, how long for? You could say that you stayed a week in Paris, for example. Je suis resté, I stayed, une semaine à Paris. And who with? You could say with your parents, with your friend or your friends. And here I didn't put a friend with an E, but if it's a female friend, you need to put an E. I didn't have any room to put it there. Here's an example. J'ai passé une semaine dans un hôtel au bord de la mer avec mes amis. If you went abroad and to the United States in particular, you could say j'ai voyagé aux États-Unis. I remind you that États-Unis is a country which is plural, hence the AUX before États-Unis. Now, the reason here, which I used, it's to visit my family. So I use pour rendre visite à ma famille because very often students use visiter. Unfortunately, you don't visit someone. You visit a place, but you don't visit somebody. So the sentence gives you j'ai voyagé aux États-Unis pour rendre visite à ma famille. I traveled to the United States to visit my family. And you could add something like j'ai visité New York, I visited New York. Here, two actions in the past, but with verbs which are not ending with ER. Do you know those verbs? Let's look at picture number 1. What is it? To read. read, to read is lire. So how would you say I read? J'ai lu. So you have to be careful because there's no U in the verb lire. So you have to be very careful. Now, what about the second one? To sleep. Right? So to sleep it is dormir. And we're going to have j'ai dormi. Now, useful expressions with the verb faire. Faire une croisière. Faire des randonnées. To hike, to go hiking. Faire du parapente. To go paragliding. How do you use actions with faire in the past? Well, you just use j'ai fait. And you have some expressions here. J'ai fait du surf. J'ai fait du vélo. Vélo is cycling. J'ai fait du shopping. J'ai fait des randonnées. J'ai fait une croisière. I went on a cruise. In the past tense, you know that some verbs require je suis as opposed to j'ai. So, je suis allé with I went. Je suis parti. I left. Je suis resté, I stayed. Je suis sorti, I went out. These are just a few examples. That gives us, je suis resté à la maison, I stayed at home. Je suis sorti de temps en temps. I went out from time to time. Now, an example of reflexive verbs in the past. You need to remember that you need the reflexive pronoun with it and to be. So that gives us, for the first picture, je me suis baigné. And the second one, je me suis reposé. The next question is, as-tu passé de bonnes vacances? Or, avez-vous passé de bonnes vacances? Here we're asking, did you have a good holiday? So remember, holiday in French is plural and it's feminine, hence bonne, which is feminine for bon, and vacances with an S here. C'était comment? How was it? So, if it was good, you could say oui. C'était génial. C'était super. You could even say, c'était trop court. It was too short. But if it was the opposite, you didn't enjoy your holiday, you could say something like, non, c'était ennuyeux. It was boring. You want to describe your holiday? And your holiday was good? You could say, c'était des vacances agréables, pleasant, relaxante, relaxing, reposante, the same as relaxante, inoubliable, unforgettable, merveilleuse, wonderful. So be careful here. You will always have an S because vacances is plural. Not happy with your holiday? Then you could say c'était des vacances ennuyeuses, boring, fatigantes, tiring, désastreuses, disastrous. So I'm going to tell you about my holiday. I was very lucky this year. Here it is. J'ai passé de bonnes vacances. Je suis allée en Angleterre. J'y suis restée 3 semaines. J'ai rendu visite à mes amis. J'ai fait du shopping. J'ai visité Londres et je me suis promenée au bord de la Tamise. C'était très agréable. In English now, I had a good holiday. I went to England. I stayed there for 3 weeks. I visited my friends. I went shopping. I visited London and I walked along the banks of River Thames. it was very pleasant. Well, it was very pleasant for me to prepare this video for you, which I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed the video, please like it, share it, and of course, don't forget to subscribe. Au revoir!